We're talking this afternoon about AloeDophilus, an exciting new product from Univera. If you look at the gastrointestinal tract, and that's where AloeDophilus really works, you understand that it's an incredible organ that has to do so many different things. It's got to digest your food. It has to break those food down into particles that are small enough to be absorbed. At the same time, it has to keep out all the stuff you don't want in your bloodstream. It has to eliminate what you don't need. All that is going on in 26 feet of this tubing, and in that environment, you've got about 100 trillion organisms. Now imagine that. That's more organisms than you have cells in your body. What's going on there? Well, what's going on there is an entire ecology of beneficial flora, beneficial organisms, mostly bacteria, that do wonderful things. They manufacture vitamins. They help to digest food. They help to metabolize food. They help to produce other nutrients and compounds that you need. All this is going on in the gastrointestinal tract all the time. Now, in the natural world, this happens and functions perfectly well. But then something else happens. We take antibiotics. Antibiotics do what? They kill the beneficial flora as well as the pathogens, and you end up with a dysbiosis, in other words, which means that the ecology or the environment of the gastrointestinal tract has been disturbed. Sometimes that is serious. Sometimes it leads to illness, and sometimes it leads to chronic problems that result from this dysbiosis. So for a long time, people have been saying, well, you need to restore levels of beneficial flora. And we think that that's a good idea. For a long time, we worked on this because we wanted to know, well, which bacteria are the best. And so there's a couple of things that we did. We took a whole raft of beneficial flora and tried to see which were the best. Now, how do you do that? Well, you put them together and you see which ones end up on top, because they tend to fight with each other. And so there was 4 species that ended up being the strongest and the best that actually have the ability to colonize in the gastrointestinal tract and do all those wonderful things. So when you look at a list of probiotic, and it's like a list of 20 or more organisms, you got to know that you're never going to get 20 or more organisms. You'll probably get the strongest 4, and that's what we put in AloeDophilus. Now, the aloe part of the name tells you how we stabilize those organisms. If you look at yogurt, yogurt's a great way to get stable organisms, but at the same time, a lot of people don't want the dairy products. And so what we did is we used the polysaccharides in aloe to stabilize the organisms so that when you take the product, it actually works. Saying that, I still think it's a good idea for most people to take AloeDophilus on a daily basis, 1 or maybe even 2 capsules a day, especially if you've been having a recent course of antibiotics. So if you look at that, 1 capsule a day, tiny little capsule, easy to take, and the cost is quite reasonable. I mean, it's for less than 50 cents a day. You can continually put into your gastrointestinal tract the beneficial flora that are going to help your gastrointestinal tract do all the wonderful things that it does for you on a daily basis. So you can obviously restore beneficial flora with AloeDophilus. It is a valuable product, it is easy to use, and it's something which I think everyone really ought to be taking on a daily basis. Best results are obtained from consistent use.